Exposed, arrogant billionaire's son discovers hidden love after shocking incident with Maid, a tale of redemption. The sun hung low over Maplewood, casting golden rays on opulent mansions, but for Alex Thompson, it felt more like a spotlight exposing every crack in his seemingly perfect life. He was the son of a powerful real estate mogul and lived a life filled with luxury that felt more like confinement. Beneath the glamorous parties and shiny sports cars, a feeling of emptiness clawed at him. It was a familiar mix of invincibility paired with constant discontent. Just a game, his father had sneered that morning as he adjusted his silk tie. It's not just about winning, Alex. It's about legacy. Those words echoed in Alex's mind as he prepared for the soccer match that felt more like a trial than a game. No pressure there. Outside, Maria, the family maid, was cleaning the steps. She was quiet, but her presence was always there, like a shadow. Alex had never really noticed her, not until that moment. Tempers flared. He was tired of feeling like a puppet, tired of his father's expectations suffocating him. When Maria accidentally dropped a stack of towels at his feet, he exploded. "Can't you do anything right?" he yelled, the frustration of his world spilling out. Her eyes widened, and for a moment, time stood still. Then, shock turned to hurt. "I'm doing my best," she replied, voice shaky, before she turned away, visibly shaken. Alex felt a flicker of regret slink away, crushed under the weight of misplaced anger. Just then, a classmate with a smartphone caught the moment on video. The clip went viral faster than a match flame hitting gasoline. Whispers followed him everywhere he went. "Did you hear about Alex and the maid?" It was a scandal, a juicy tidbit for the Maplewood gossip mill. But the deeper cut was Alex's own guilt. He couldn't shake it. He needed to know more about Maria, a woman who had toiled to give her daughter a fighting chance at a better life. That night, under the glow of the moon, they spoke. At first, the exchanges were awkward, filled with uncertainty and the lingering weight of that morning's encounter. But as they shared stories, her dreams, her struggles, something began to crack inside Alex. His world of privilege was spoon-feeding him emptiness, while Maria's perseverance filled her with hope. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each late-night conversation, Alex felt a growing rift between his past and the new perspective Maria offered. His friends didn't understand. It was easier to mock him than to see the real bond forming. The ridicule stung. It was easier to stay by his father's side, draped in wealth and status. But Maria's quiet resilience ignited a longing for something authentic. Tension simmered at home. Confrontations with his father became looming storms, each clash peeling back layers of conditioning. And then the storm broke. At a family gathering, gossip had turned unrelenting, and Alex was faced with a choice: stand up for Maria or keep his head down and placate his family. As whispers filled the air, he looked over at Maria, standing alone. In that moment of truth, he felt the weight of the world shift. The question now hung heavy: could he choose what was right over what was easy? The room buzzed like a shaken soda can as Alex stared across the sea of glitzy lights and shiny suits. The chatter was intoxicating, but the poison lay in the stares he felt aimed at him. His heart pounded in rhythm with the nervous thoughts racing through his mind. Each whispered comment hit harder than any soccer tackle. "So, you really did lose it, huh?" Or, "He's gone soft for the maid." He turned back to Maria. She stood near the edge of the hall, her head down, her hands firmly gripping the fabric of her uniform. The hurt in her eyes reflected back at him. She looked small amidst the grandeur that surrounded them. They were worlds apart, yet a connection had formed like an unbreakable thread since that fateful afternoon. Taking a deep breath, Alex pushed through the crowd, ignoring the leering faces. His heart raced with both fear and determination as he approached her. "Maria," he said, his voice threaded with urgency. "I need to talk to you." "Not now, Alex." Her voice was softer than he expected but firm, filled with the kind of quiet strength he admired. "You don't need to defend me." "It's not about defense," he insisted. He paused, grappling with the knot in his stomach. "I don't want you to feel alone in this." Maria raised her head, her gaze locking with his. For a brief moment, the space around them faded. The laughter and chatter disappeared, leaving only the pulse of their shared understanding. But reality cruelly cut through the moment as a group of his friends passed by, laughter ringing out like clanging bells. "Are you really going to stand by her, Alex?" one of them mocked. "What's next, learning to clean?" Alex felt the heat rise in his cheeks, but he refused to let their cruelty dictate his actions. Instead, he turned back to Maria, who was already moving away. "Wait," he called after her. She halted but didn't turn back. "I have to go back to work," she said, her voice barely above a whisper as though the anger and sadness from earlier had turned her words into a fragile breeze. "Maria, please." He reached out, but the silence stretched between them like an impenetrable wall. "I don't want this to end. I want to understand. You've shown me something different. It matters." "Does it?" she replied, finally turning to him. "Or does it just make you feel better about yourself? Being the rich kid playing savior while your friends laugh at my expense?" Her words hit him like a slap. He wanted to argue, to insist he cared because he did more than he ever thought possible. But defending his feelings felt like adding fuel to the fire. Instead, he let silence fill the space once more. The sight of tears glistening in her eyes was enough to shatter Alex's heart. How had he let this happen? The weight of his father's expectations, the suffocating privilege, all of it suddenly felt meaningless against the raw vulnerability standing before him. "I don't want to be that guy," he finally said, voice low. "Help me figure this out. Help me understand who you are." She remained silent, the glow of the chandeliers casting shadows over her conflicted face. Would she trust him? Would she let go of the hurt he caused? And as that question hung in the air, he felt an ache of hope blooming inside him. "Let me make this right, Maria," he whispered. "I want to stand up for you." Before he could say more, a loud crash interrupted them. The elegant glassware had toppled off the table, scattering like the delicate threads of hope they were trying to weave. He looked back at Maria, noting the flicker of determination in her eyes. Another pulse of resolve signaled that they were teetering on the brink of something significant, something more than either had anticipated. "Let us talk," she said. "But not here. Meet me tomorrow after your match." And just like that, Alex knew, this was the moment that could change everything. A chance to rewrite their story, a chance to conquer his father's legacy with his own choice. As he walked away, the questions burned bright. Would he be able to step into the role he was terrified to embrace? Would he stand strong against the world that sought to pull him back into the shadows? Tomorrow held the promise of revelation. And so he prepared to face what awaited within the depths of his own heart. The next day dawned bright and crisp, a sharp contrast to the turmoil churning inside Alex. He could barely focus during his match, as thoughts of Maria swirled in his mind like autumn leaves caught in a whirlwind. Each time the ball came near, he felt the weight of his decisions. The looming game was merely a backdrop for the real contest playing out in his heart. His teammates noticed something off about him, exchanging glances and nudges with raised eyebrows, but Alex merely gritted his teeth and pushed through. He played hard, blocked out distractions, and poured all his energy into the game. The exhilaration of the field, the cheers of the crowd, felt distant. All he could see was her face, the sadness etched into her features haunting him like a specter. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the whistle blew. Alex trudged off the field, his body aching, yet his mind was sharper than ever. The sky had turned from a soft blue to the fiery hues of dusk. He glanced at his phone again. She hadn't texted. Was she even waiting for him? He made his way to the spot they had chosen, a small park just beyond the estate where they first connected. The smell of fresh grass filled the air, mingling with the distant sounds of laughter from children playing. It should have been comforting, but instead, the setting felt all too ordinary. Everything about it reminded him that this meeting held the weight of change between them, and then he saw her. Maria sat on a bench, her hands clasped tightly around her knees, her gaze lost in the distance. She looked small and fragile against the backdrop of the sprawling park. Gathering his courage, Alex approached slowly, each step heavy with anticipation. "Maria," he started, his voice almost a whisper. She turned to him, eyes wide like she was startled and yet relieved at the same time. "Alex," she said, her tone revealing a mix of apprehension and hope. He felt an overwhelming urge to bridge the space between them, to pull her close and erase the hurt, but feared he might only make things worse. "I'm glad you came. I just didn't want to leave things, the way they were last night. I wanted to talk." "Talk? Or explain?" She interjected, the sharpness in her voice unexpected yet justified. "Do you even know what it's like to be in my shoes? To be judged by people who don't know you?" His heart sank. "I know. I've been an idiot, and I've let them control how I act. But I think I'm starting to see it now. I want to change that. I want to change for you." Maria's expression softened, a flicker of something akin to trust lighting her eyes, but it was quickly masked by doubt. "I don't know if it's that easy. You're stepping into a world that feels so foreign to you, and I'm just the maid." "But you're not just the maid," he insisted, taking a half-step closer. "You're so much more, Maria. You've shown me a side of life that I've never seen, real and raw. I want to be a part of it." She tilted her head, lines of uncertainty still shadowing her face. "And what if it all crumbles? What if your friends don't accept it? Or your family?" The question hung in the air like a dark cloud, pressing down on his shoulders. Would he really stand strong against everything that sought to pull him back? "I'd rather take the risk than go back to living a lie," he said, voice steady despite the storm of nerves inside him. For a moment, silence wrapped around them, each heartbeat loud against the quiet surroundings. "Then let us make it work," she finally said, breathless. "If you're willing to fight for us, I'll fight too." A rush of relief surged through him, but before he could respond, a shout echoed from the entrance of the park. A familiar face emerged from the shadows, one that could send their moment crashing down. "Alex, there you are. You won't believe what they're saying about you." His heart dropped as he recognized the voice. The clash of their two worlds loomed large. "If you can face this together," Maria whispered, taking a step back, "then maybe you truly are ready." As Alex turned toward the approaching figure, he knew this was the moment that would define their future. Would he stand firm with Maria, or would the weight of his old world pull him back into its grasp? Alex's mind raced as he turned to see his childhood friend and rival, Jake, striding towards him with a swagger that made Alex's stomach twist. The gleam of mischief in Jake's eyes hinted at trouble. "You won't believe what they're saying about you," Jake repeated, a smug grin plastered across his face. "Not now, Jake," Alex snapped, his voice firm yet strained. He felt Maria's presence behind him, her unease palpable. It knotted in his gut. This was supposed to be a moment of clarity, of commitment, a chance to bridge the divide between their worlds. "Well, if it's not now, then when?" Jake shrugged, glancing at Maria, his smirk widening. "Your little maid is causing a stir, Alex. People are talking. They think you've lost it. Are you really going to throw everything away for her?" A spark of anger flared in Alex. "You don't get to judge what I feel, Jake. You don't know her." Jake laughed, dismissive. "I know what you're throwing away. A future that's yours for the taking. You want to throw all that away for?" He gestured toward Maria, who stood silently, her face pale. "No," Alex replied, fierceness creeping into his voice. I want to create my own future. One that includes Maria. Each word felt like a decision, a barrier he was building against what Jake represented the life he was meant to have. Maria finally spoke, tentatively. Maybe this isn't worth it, Alex. Her voice quivered, the edge of vulnerability stinging Alex deeper than Jake's taunts. He turned to face her fully, seeing the doubt flicker behind her brave facade. Don't you dare say that, Alex pleaded, stepping closer, feeling the warmth radiate from her. This is worth fighting for. You're worth fighting for. But Alex, what if no what ifs? He cut her off, his voice rising in intensity. Everything worth having comes with a risk. I can't lose you, not now. Not ever. But what about your life? Your friends? She whispered, her eyes shimmering. Let them talk. Jake interjected, crossing his arms. They'll say whatever they want. You'll be the joke of the school, the one who decided to date the maid, the one who couldn't handle the pressure. His cruel laughter rang out, echoing through the park. With every taunt, Alex felt his resolve shatter temporarily. Could he really stand against all this? Yet when he glanced back at Maria, standing there with her eyes filled with both hope and fear, the doubt began to fade. The love he felt was more powerful than any ridicule. Shut up, Jake, he said finally, voice quiet yet commanding. This isn't about you. I need to figure out what I want, not just what's expected of me. As Jake's laughter halted, the tension thickened in the air. Alex wasn't just bringing up his insecurities, he was letting a wall crumble. Maria's expression shifted, hope creeping back in, but Jake's relentless smirk lingered. Fine, do what you want, Jake shrugged, but don't come crying to me when your little fantasy falls apart. The last words hung heavy, and even though Jake turned and walked away, the whisper of doubt lingered. Maria's tension seemed to reflect both relief and concern. Alex, she said softly, fear returning, are we really ready for this? Against all that? He took her hands within his, feeling warmth pulse between them. Yes, he said, voice strong. Together, we can face anything. But as they stood there, the uncertainty of the future loomed large, testing the strength of their bond. Could they really take on the world together, or was it a dream destined to unravel? As they exchanged a lingering look, a subtle tension flickered, tiny but potent. Behind them, shadows of their respective worlds lurked on the fringes, waiting to pounce. And then, just when Alex felt a sense of solidarity crucial to their survival, he noticed another figure approaching, one wrapped in the shadows of anticipation. Who else could threaten their fragile moment? Alex's heart raced again as he turned, the familiar ache of anxiety gripping him once more. It was Sarah, one of Jake's closest friends, known for her piercing remarks and sharp tongue. Her skeptical expression quickly readjusted into a smirk as she approached, her heels clicking against the pavement, echoing the tension hanging in the air. What is going on here? A little romantic moment? Sarah's voice dripped with sarcasm. She leaned in, making sure to keep her disdain open for both Alex and Maria to see. How cute. Are you collecting pity points now, Alex? Dating the help, are we? The weight behind her words felt heavy in Alex's chest. He glanced at Maria, whose eyes had dulled with a mix of embarrassment and hurt. It twisted his insides, seeing her bravely hold back tears as Sarah continued her verbal onslaught. Honestly, I think Jake might have a point, she teased, stepping closer. You really want to ruin your reputation over, what? A fling? She's not a fling. Alex shot back, anger flaring. But the apprehensive glimmer in Maria's eyes stabbed him deeper. It was more than just a comment, it was a threat to everything they had just built. Is that so? Sarah countered, raising an eyebrow. Then tell me, what's the plan, Alex? When the rumors start flying, and your fancy friends start distancing themselves? Her lips curled as if she were savoring the moment. Let us be real. You don't belong together, and you know that. Stop it. Maria finally spoke, her voice firmer than before. You don't know anything about us. You don't get to decide who we are. Sarah's laughter rang out across the park, attracting unwanted attention from passers-by. Alex felt heat rise in his cheeks, a mix of humiliation and defiance. If only he could shield Maria from this ridicule, but he wasn't sure how to fight back against the world that seemed so adamant to tear them apart. Who do you think you're fooling? Sarah said, her smile wide, as though she was truly enjoying this. There's a reason you're both standing in this park alone, isn't there? He couldn't handle it anymore. You know what, Sarah? You don't get to define our relationship. You want to try to catch me off guard, but you're only showing how small you are. He stepped protectively in front of Maria, frustration boiling inside him. That was a good comeback for someone in a last-ditch effort, she responded with a dismissive wave. But let us be honest. You'll be lonely when this all comes crashing down. Newsflash: love doesn't pay the bills. With a deafening silence following those words, Alex felt as if the entire world was closing in on him. Maria's shoulders slumped as if the weight of everything was too much to bear. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. They were supposed to be building something together. Alex, maybe this isn't worth it, Maria murmured again, her eyes now resolutely cast down. Don't say that, he whispered, urgency flowing through him, pulling his thoughts together. We're stronger than this. We have to be. Just as he reached for her hands again, desperately wanting to reassure her, a sudden shout cut through the tension. Across the park, Jake had returned, flanked by a group of students. They wore expressions of excitement, sensing an opportunity to witness the drama unfolding. Looks like it's showtime, Jake called, his voice taunting. He relished the spectacle like a vulture. In that moment, Alex knew their fight wasn't over. Behind every hissing comment, beyond the laughter, lay determination, and it made everything feel even more critical. Ready for this, Maria? He asked, trying to meet her gaze. But before she could respond, Jake stepped forward, a glint of devious delight in his eyes. Let us see if you can handle the truth, Alex. Want to know what everyone really thinks about you? The crowd murmured, and a chill ran through Alex. Would the truth make or break them? Would it shatter the fragile bond they had fought to protect? An anxiety that felt like ice seared through him. As he looked at Maria, she appeared steadier, yet a shadow of doubt clouded her expression. Together, we can face it all, right? He asked, his voice quieter, but still full of resolve. Right. Maria responded, but her hesitation hung like a taut wire between them, electrified with uncertainty. And just as Jake opened his mouth to expose whatever dangerous secret he held, Alex braced himself for the next shocking revelation. Would they stand strong, or would it be the thing that finally drove them apart? The moment hung thick in the air, heavy with tension and unspoken words. Jake's lips curled into a smirk, relishing the power he held over the crowd, and for a heartbeat, Alex felt his heart sink. This was the moment they had both feared, but neither was willing to back down. Tell us, Alex, Jake continued, his voice ringing out, clear and mocking. What do you think people say about a guy like you dating someone who works for him? Alex clenched his fists, feeling the weight of every gaze bearing down on him. He shot a look at Maria. Her face was pale, and for the first time, he saw a flicker of fear in her eyes. It tore through him like a knife. Why do you care, Jake? Alex said, forcing the words out through gritted teeth. This isn't about you. This is about us. Us? Jake scoffed. That's rich. You really think this is some kind of fairy tale? Come on, man. You're just setting yourself up for a letdown. Reality doesn't work that way. Laughter erupted from the crowd, sending a fresh wave of humiliation crashing over Alex. His stomach turned, and his heart raced. He needed to protect Maria from this, to shield her from the insidious whispers that could ruin them. In a surprising twist, Maria stepped forward, finding her voice again even with her hands trembling. "What does it matter what they think?" she said, surprising even herself. "We're not here for anyone else. We're here for each other." There was a fire in her words that caught Alex off guard. He hadn't expected her to fight back, but Jake just doubled down. "What? Because you have some grand idea of love? Newsflash. You'll be the talk of the town when this fairy tale crashes. You think anyone is going to respect what you have? Especially with people like me running the show?" The crowd murmured again, and Alex felt an overwhelming urge to scream. But he held back, choosing to focus on Maria. Her gaze was steady this time, filled with a newfound determination. "Let them talk," she said softly, her voice low. "We can't let them define us. I refuse to let their opinions dictate what I feel inside." The courage in her words ignited a spark of hope within Alex. His chest tightened with both pride and gratitude. She was right. They weren't just battling Jake or Sarah, they were fighting for what they believed in, for what they forged together. "Then let us show them," Alex said, feeling emboldened. "Let us show everyone that we're not afraid. They can say what they want." He took a step closer to her, closing the distance, as if drawing strength from her unwavering spirit. "What we have is worth fighting for." Suddenly, Jake's expression darkened, and a flicker of uncertainty crossed his face, just for a second. "Do you really think you're ready for this? For all this?" "Watch us," Maria replied, her chin lifted defiantly. With that, the crowd shifted, some members murmuring encouragement. Others shifted uneasily, perhaps sensing the tide beginning to turn. Alex could see that doubt had begun to ripple through Jake's entourage. But then Jake laughed, a sharp sound that cut right through the moment. "You think this is just some game? You'll regret it." Before he could finish, the crack of a skateboard rolling past caught everyone's attention. A younger student, oblivious to the spectacle, disrupted the charged atmosphere. The unexpected interruption turned heads, and for a brief moment, the focus shifted. "See? Even they know this is ridiculous. Team up with me, and you won't have to face this alone," Jake called out, but his confidence wavered, and Alex found a new surge of strength in the situation. "We won't hide," Alex declared, his voice ringing with conviction, "and we won't lose faith in each other. If you want to play games, Jake, then let us do this. But you do it without us." Maria's hand tightened around his, and he felt the warmth of her resolve coursing through him. The world hadn't just shifted, it was uprooting. As the crowd buzzed with whispers, Jake looked genuinely rattled. "This isn't over, Alex. Not by a long shot." "No," Alex agreed, his tone firm. "It's just beginning." As they held their ground, the air crackled with uncertainty and promise. Would Jake retaliate with more venom? Would others join the fight? With the stakes raised, Maria squeezed his hand tighter, and together, Alex sensed they were on the verge of something monumental, but in that charged moment, Maria's gaze flickered past him, and Alex turned, his heart in his throat as he realized another presence had arrived, one that could change everything once again. Who had come to witness their stand? And would they help, or would they add fuel to the flames? The air shifted again as Alex turned to see who had entered the scene. His heart skidded to a halt as he caught sight of Sarah, Jake's ex. She stood there, framed by the fading light of the setting sun, full of an energy that seemed to crackle in the air. Her eyes shone with a mix of curiosity and something darker, as if she had come to watch the world burn. A hush fell over the crowd, tension thickening once more. Sarah was popular, charismatic, she could sway opinions more easily than Jake ever could. Alex's stomach churned. He felt like a deer in headlights, and time seemed to slow as her gaze landed on him and Maria. "Wow," she said, a fake voice dripping with syrupy sweetness. "This is an interesting little show you've got going on here. Are you really willing to sacrifice your reputation for what is this? A summer fling?" The words sliced through the remnants of confidence that Alex had managed to build. "Sarah," Maria said, her voice steady despite the rising hostility in the crowd. "This isn't about you or Jake. It's about us. Sarah interrupted, letting out a laugh that felt sharp and cruel. "Honey, you need to wake up. Alex is playing a dangerous game here. Just look at him. You really think he'll stay with a girl like you when he has options laid out in front of him?" The crowd shifted again, doubt creeping back into their minds. Alex felt the weight of their stares, felt their expectations pressing down on him. It was like walking through mud, slow and heavy. He turned back to Maria, but her expression remained resolute, though he could see a flicker of concern in her eyes. "Don't listen to her," Alex urged, forcing his voice to stay calm despite the storm of doubt crashing around him. "We know who we are to each other." "Oh please," Sarah said, leaning in like a predator. "You may think this is love, but reality isn't that simple. You think people want to talk? That they want to spread rumors? What's it like being just another scandal for these people? Is it worth it?" Something cracked inside Alex, the pressure building high. This was more than just a moment, it was everything. He glanced at Jake, but Jake was standing slightly back, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk on his face as he watched the chaos unfold. "Stop it, Sarah," Maria said, her voice gaining strength. "It's not your choice to make. We're not afraid of what anyone thinks, especially not you." A murmur went through the crowd, a ripple of surprise and intrigue at Maria's boldness. For a fleeting moment, Alex felt a swell of pride, admiration blooming within him. But Sarah wasn't finished. "You know that everyone expects you to fail, don't you? Alex, are you really going to throw everything away for this fantasy? What are you even talking about?" Alex shouted, frustration boiling over. "I'm tired of you and Jake thinking you can control everyone else's lives. This is our choice, and we're taking it." The urgency of his words filled the space between them, and he could almost feel the energy of their conviction rising. For a moment, silence enveloped them. The tension faded just enough for hope to creep in. But then, Sarah flicked her hair back and smiled, that cruel twist returning. "This is going to blow up in your face, Alex. I'll make sure of it." Before he could respond, she stepped away, her presence still lingering in the air like an aftertaste of something bitter. With her departure, Maria took a deep breath, and the intensity shifted a little. "It won't be easy, will it?" "No," Alex said, his voice almost a whisper. "But we've got to stick together. They can't touch us as long as we believe in each other." Suddenly, the crowd erupted into chatter, some supporters murmuring their encouragement while others fretted about the future. Alex's heart raced in sync with the noise around him. He felt a wave of determination washing over him, but as he glanced at Maria, her face lit with determination, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. What did Sarah have planned? How far would she go to undermine them, with the sun setting behind them, casting long shadows? That danced across the pavement, Alex realized they were standing at a crossroads, one that could lead to love or ruin, and just then, a message dinged on Alex's phone, the bright screen lighting up with a notification that promised to change everything. His heart pounded, a mix of excitement and dread. What could it be? Alex's heart raced as he picked up his phone. The message was from an unknown number. It was short but chilling. "I know what you're hiding. Meet me at the old fountain tonight if you want the truth." His mind spun with questions. Who could it be? Was this a prank? Or was it someone connected to Sarah? He looked over at Maria, who was still catching her breath after Sarah's onslaught. Her brow knitted in concern, rightfully so. "What is it?" she asked, her voice threading through the background noise. Alex hesitated. He wanted to protect her from whatever mess was brewing. But he realized keeping secrets wasn't the way to go. It's a message. Someone claims they know something about us, he admitted, trying to gauge her reaction. The color drained from her face. What do they mean by something? I don't know. I'm going to meet them. No. You can't just. I have to find out what this is about. If it's a threat, we can't ignore it. There was a flicker of doubt in Maria's eyes. But Alex, what if it's a trap? What if it's Sarah's doing? He rubbed the back of his neck, feeling the weight of the world pressing against his shoulders. This was the last thing they needed. But deep down, he felt a spark of determination. He wasn't about to let Sarah or anyone else dictate their lives. Listen, I'll go. I'll be careful. I'll text you the minute I know anything. Just trust me, he implored. Maria bit her lip, glancing at the crowd now busy with gossip and whispers. I don't want to lose you to this mess, Alex. You're worth so much more than this petty drama. He reached out, taking her hands in his. You won't lose me. I promise. Just keep your phone close. If this gets out of hand, I'll find you. With a heavy heart, Alex made his way through the crowd, feeling both determined and anxious. The sun dipped lower, throwing long shadows over the pavement as he arrived at the old fountain. The place felt eerily quiet, a sharp contrast to the chaos he had just left behind. He scanned the area, the cool evening air brushing against his skin. As the minutes ticked by, his stomach knotted. Then he heard footsteps. A figure stepped into the dim light, shrouded in shadows. You came, the voice said, sounding both familiar and distant. Alex squinted, the outline becoming clearer. It was someone he hadn't expected. You? What do you want? More than you think. But first, you need to understand what's at stake. The tension crackled around them like electricity, and Alex's thoughts raced through everything he had fought for, the love he had chosen, the trust he had built. Before he could ask what that was, the figure leaned in closer, urgency brimming in their voice. There's more to Sarah than you know. Secrets that could change everything. Alex felt his heart pound harder. This was the moment he had been dreading but also desperately needed. What secrets lay buried in the past? Could they really threaten the fragile love he was fighting for? As the words sunk in, now more curious than ever, Alex took a step closer. Tell me everything. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the night, startling them both. The distraction shattered the moment, leaving Alex frozen, dread and anticipation intertwining. What had he just walked into? The crash reverberated in Alex's ears like a thunderclap. The figure before him stepped back, eyes wide with apprehension. They hadn't anticipated such an interruption, and neither had he. The tension in the air thickened, a cocktail of confusion and curiosity swirling inside him. For a moment, they both just stood there, glancing toward the darkness that shielded the source of the noise. The dim light cast long shadows, and for every beat of silence, Alex's heart pounded louder, as if demanding answers. What was that? He demanded, his voice steadier than he felt. Probably just some kids messing around, the figure replied, but their voice lacked conviction, a flicker of unease flickering in their gaze. Or someone looking for trouble, Alex shot back, trying to remain level-headed. The old fountain had long been a place for quiet reflection, not the unpredictable chaos of the world outside. A moment passed, and Alex felt the urge to bolt. But today was not the day to run away. He needed to know. Look, I'm not here to play games. You said you had information. About Sarah. What do you know? The figure hesitated, glancing over their shoulder as though expecting shadows to take form. Sarah isn't who you think she is. She's got connections and they're dangerous. Dangerous? Alex repeated, a chill creeping up his spine. What do you mean? Her family, they're involved in something big, things you wouldn't believe, the figure said, their voice now barely a whisper. I can't say too much here. Let us get away from this fountain. Against his instincts, Alex decided to trust them for the moment. Something about their urgent tone made him feel that this wasn't merely about Sarah anymore. The stakes were rising, and he sensed a current that could pull them both under. All right, lead the way, he replied, his voice firm. They began to walk, the sound of their footsteps echoing in the stillness. Shadows stretched and shrank with each step, the looming darkness around them growing more ominous. It all started with her brother, the figure finally said as they navigated through the park, keeping to the edges where the light barely reached. You can't trust anyone connected to him. The longer you remain unaware, the deeper you'll find yourself in trouble. Alex clenched his fists. You don't know anything about me. I've dealt with my fair share of trouble before. The figure stopped. This isn't just about you, Alex. It's about Maria, too. You're putting her in danger by not knowing the truth. A flash of anger ignited in him. Don't you dare bring her into this. What do you think you know about us? I know that you think love conquers all, but that kind of thinking can blind you. People are capable of horrific things, the figure countered, their voice low but intense. Sarah's family has a wealth of resources and power. They will go to great lengths to keep their secrets buried. Alex felt a sense of helplessness mixed with fierce protectiveness wash over him. He couldn't let anything harm Maria. So what's the plan? You're telling me I should just walk away? No, they said, their eyes narrowing with determination. What you need to do is confront Sarah. Find out what she is hiding. And watch your back. Before Alex could respond, something rustled nearby, snapping them both back to their surroundings. The tension thickened once more. This wasn't just suspense anymore, it was a warning. What was that? He hissed, glancing around frantically. But the figure's expression morphed from concern to sudden fear. It's not just her family, Alex. There are others watching. You need to decide, and fast. Follow your heart or run, but the truth will come for you either way. The air grew heavy with unease, and Alex's mind raced. Could he really face the secrets that lay ahead? Was he ready to confront Sarah, risking everything? He took a deep breath, steeling himself. The night wasn't over yet, and neither were his questions. The real fight was just beginning. Alex's heart pounded as he stood in the dark with the figure, the weight of their words pressing down on him like a heavy fog. He felt a mix of fear and determination surge within him. Maria was at risk, and he couldn't let anyone hurt her. Listen, I have to go back, he said, urgency sharpening his voice. I need to protect Maria. If Sarah is dangerous, I can't let her get to us. The figure nodded solemnly. Just be careful. Knowledge is power, but it can also hurt you more than anything else. With that, Alex turned and sprinted away, the cool night air whipping against his face. He thought of Maria, of her courage, of how much he wanted to fight not just for his love, but for both their futures. She had stood up against ridicule today, and he needed to do the same against the shadows creeping into their lives. When he arrived back at the park, the crowd had dissipated. The light of the street lamps flickered, casting pools of yellow across the grass. He scanned the area, half expecting Jake and Sarah to jump out from behind the trees, grinning at his misfortune. But it was just quiet, the distant chirping of crickets filling the air, a stark contrast to the chaos of earlier. Then he spotted her. Maria sat on a bench, her hands gripping the edges tightly. He felt a wave of relief wash over him at the sight of her. As he approached, the anxiety that had built up inside him began to melt away. Alex, she said softly, her eyes searching his, reading the whirlwind of emotions that flickered across his face. What did they say? They said we need to be careful, he replied, sinking onto the bench beside her. About Sarah and her family. They have connections. It's more serious than I thought. And you believe them? Maria asked, her brow furrowed with concern. I don't know. But I want to sit back and let someone threaten what we have. He reached for her hand, intertwining their fingers, drawing strength from her warmth. I need to confront Sarah. I can't let her control our story. Maria inhaled deeply, a mix of worry and admiration flashing in her eyes. You're brave, Alex. But what if she tries to hurt you? He squeezed her hand tighter, his pulse quickening with a mix of anxiety and determination. Then we face it together. The resolve in her eyes ignited a spark in his heart. They were in this together, come what may. As Alex stood, pulling Maria up with him, he felt a sense of clarity wash over him. They had to take control of their narrative. They wouldn't be defined by whispers or judgments. They would stand side by side against whatever storm brewed ahead. Let us go find her, he said, confidence enveloping him like a cloak. With every step toward what awaited them, Alex felt the world tilt. Fate had brought them here, and it would take more than gossip and judgment to tear them apart. They were two intertwined lives, ready to face the fire together. When they reached the nearby cafe where Alex knew Sarah often hung out, the weight of tension hung thick in the air. But for the first time, Alex didn't feel afraid. He had Maria by his side, the person who made every risk worth taking. As they entered, the hum of conversation quieted. Eyes turned toward them, but he didn't look away. He felt Maria's hand grip his, their thumbs brushing against each other, a lifeline. Sarah. He called out, his voice ringing above the chatter. He saw her sitting at a table near the back, surprise widening her eyes. We need to talk. The cafe filled with a breathless silence. She smirked, leaning back in her chair as if relishing the attention. But there was a glint in her eyes, something dangerous, something that filled Alex with purpose. Oh really? Is this about your little romance with the maid? Maria stood firm beside him, unwavering. It's about you and the truth, Sarah. We deserve a chance without your interference. With that, the confrontation began. Words flowed like a current, charged with vulnerability and defiance. Alex spoke from his heart, revealing how he felt for Maria, refusing to hide anymore. The walls he had built around himself crumbled as he bared his soul to the crowd. His love had strength and power. True love doesn't come with boundaries, Sarah, he declared, voice steady. And I want to let you define what is good enough for me. As he spoke, something shifted in the air, people started to whisper encouragement. The tide was turning, and Alex could feel it. He turned to Maria, her face illuminated with unconditional support, and it sparked a surge of hope within him. This wasn't just a fight, it was an affirmation of everything they had built. In that moment, surrounded by judgment, laughter, and uncertainty, Alex felt like he finally had the power to shape his destiny. He understood now that it wasn't just about them, it was about everything they represented, a love that could deal with obstacles, a connection that could fight against even the harshest of judgments. As the cafe buzzed back to life, Alex locked eyes with Maria, a smile spreading across her face. We did it, she whispered. Together we can do anything, he whispered back, a promise that now felt like a foundation they could build upon, and in that defining moment, beneath the weight of everything lined up against them, Alex and Maria knew they had faced their battles and emerged stronger. Their love was not just a story, it was their reality, vivid and true. Now, it was their turn to inspire others. Love that defied expectations, built on trust and unwavering support. And as they walked out together, hand in hand, a feeling of triumph washed over them. They were ready to embrace whatever came next. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and let us know you care. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your thoughts matter to us. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can create a community that believes in love, resilience, and courage.